Scandal: U.S. sanctions decision on Turkey. The United States has decided to impose some sanctions on Turkey over the purchase of S-400 systems from Russia. After this development, the State Department reacted very harshly to the U.S. administration. "We are committed to our goal of a fully independent defense industry under the leadership of our President Recep Tayyip Erdogan," said Ismail Demir, head of the defense industry, who is the target of sanctions. After the controversial decision, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo issued a message saying, "I invite Turkey to solve the S-400 problem as soon as possible in coordination with the United States." Meanwhile, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov called the U.S. decision arrogant attitude to international law. In a statement from the U.S. Treasury Department, the Presidential Defense Industry Presidency, SSB, the head of defense industry Ismail Demir and the presidential officials Mustafa Alperdeniz, Serhat Cenkoglu and Faruk Ugit were added to the sanctions list. Christopher Ford, Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for International Security and Armament Prevention, said the sanctions against the SSB prohibit the granting of export licenses and powers for U.S. products and technologies to the President. Ford said that the supply of more than $10 million in loans from U.S. financial institutions to the SSB in a 12-month period was prohibited. The Export-Import Bank, Exim Bank, cut off credit support to the SSB, and international financial institutions would also be prevented from lending. Ford noted that the sanctions had nothing to do with the sanctions discussed at the recent European Union summit and only related to Turkey's purchase of the S-400. Asked how they see Turkey, Ford said, "It's a complicated relationship. It's a difficult relationship. A relationship with consequences. Turkey is still a NATO ally and we value Turkey's contributions to NATO very much," said Ford, who stated that they had been in diplomatic talks with Turkey for a long time to convince them about the purchase of the S-400, argued that they were applying the sanctions as required by law. The State Department reacted strongly to this decision by the United States. The Foreign Ministry statement said, "We condemn and reject the decision of the United States, which announced today due to our supply of S-400 air defense systems and includes unilateral sanctions against Turkey. The conditions that led Turkey to supply S-400 systems on time are well known to everyone. As a matter of fact, President Trump himself has delivered Turkey's right on this issue on many occasions. On the other hand, U.S. claims that the S-400s will create a vulnerability in terms of NATO systems also lack technical basis. Furthermore, Turkey has proposed the establishment of a technical working group on this issue, which NATO will also participate in, and has repeatedly proposed that the issue be addressed on an objective and realistic basis, away from political prejudices. In this regard, it is unacceptable for the United States to resort to unilateral sanctions by refusing to accept our proposal to resolve the issue through dialogue and diplomacy in a manner befitting the two allies. Turkey will take the necessary steps against this decision, which is inevitable to have a negative impact on our relations, and will respond as it sees fit and with timing. Turkey will also not refrain from taking the measures it deems necessary to ensure its national security. With this understanding, we invite the United States to review this unfair sanctions decision announced today and to return as soon as possible from this grave mistake, stressing once again that we, as Turkey, are ready to address the issue in accordance with the spirit of alliance, through dialogue and diplomacy." Ismail Demir, head of the presidential defense industry, said that the United States will not change the stance of me and my team. "It will not be able to prevent the Turkish defense industry in any way," the phrase used. Demir shared on his Twitter account about the sanctions decisions taken by the United States against Turkey. Demir, who stated that they are committed to the goal of a fully independent defense industry under the leadership of President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, said, "Any decision taken abroad for my person or our institution will not change the position of me and my team. It will not be able to prevent the Turkish defense industry in any way." He made his assessment. Presidential spokesman Ibrahim Kalin, Turkey will continue to take decisive steps to achieve its goals in the field of defense industry. AK Party Deputy Chairman Mahir Unal, we condemn and reject the decision of unilateral sanctions taken by the United States against Turkey. Turkey has never been a country pursuing conflict in the international arena. Our country will maintain its faith in dialogue and diplomacy and will certainly not compromise its national policies. Russia reacts to controversial U.S. sanctions decision. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov criticized the U.S. decision to sanction Turkey S-400, saying, "The U.S. application of sanctions on Turkey is another manifestation of its arrogant attitude towards international law," said. Lavrov held a press conference in Bosnia and Herzegovina, where he was for official contacts. "The U.S. application of sanctions on Turkey is another manifestation of its arrogant attitude towards international law," Lavrov said, pointing out that the U.S. is using sanctions in a rough way. Of course, this approach does not contribute to the credibility of the United States, which is a responsible participant in the international arena, including military technical cooperation, he said.